Okay, in the interest of time, we are going to go down to our reports.
I'm just glad you didn't say in the interest of science, that always scares me.
Too late for that.
Office of Sustainable Energy.
Okay, so, for the energy management portion for Sullivan County facilities,
Oh, yes.
we have met with Ed McAndrew to review the New York Power Authority proposal on the HVAC and lighting systems. And we still need to, Ed is gonna be setting up a meeting with Press Engineering to go over the proposal and look for some other options. But it does definitely seem like there could be a project there that can help fix the HVAC system in a process that doesn't require bonding. And we're continuing to review power purchase agreement. That is a structure for renewable energy installations for the county. And we will arrange an informational meeting with the working group. And as far as the performance of the PV system at Travis, as of 10 o'clock this morning, it was generating instantaneous power 49.36 kilowatts, which means that if we had any machine that would come on that would require under 49 kilowatts of electricity to power it up, it would take that energy and it would reduce the demand load. To date, this year, the system has produced 56,296 kilowatt hours of electricity. And this month, it has produced, well, not this month being May, but April, it produced 6,176.85 kilowatt hours of electricity. So it's performing still above what the projections would be.
Even though we had a tough winter.
Yes, indeed, even
That's
though we had a tough winter.
What?
We had a cold winter, but not a cloudy winter.
Well, the ice
It
forms.
was a
on
normal
PV
Sullivan
panels.
County winter. Get that through your heads, people.
It's true. Yeah, we just been
We got
spoiled.
soft over the last 20 years.
Regardless, it's still working under snow and ice conditions.
Yes.
That's the main issue.
And cloudy conditions too, because of with the rain. But a PV panel will still produce energy even on a cloudy day.
On the climate action plan, we are identifying some replacement members for the advisory board, and we need to develop a scope for part 2. I'm hoping we'll be able to work with the Division of Planning and the CAP board to develop that and make sure we're not duplicating effort that has already been done through the planning, through the Division of Planning. We also have an opportunity to explore the resources that might be available through VHB Engineering, which is the consulting firm that's been hired to help the climate smart communities. And they have a lot of resources available as well. They're going to be here May 6th from 2:30 to 4 in this room to meet with representatives from Bethel, Tustin, Highland, Lumberland, Coshecton, Delaware. All those towns have been invited to attend, to do a brainstorming session about what they need to help them move forward with energy projects and energy efficiency projects in their towns. And that will also help us gather information for what's needed in part 2 of the climate action plan. On the outreach piece, we just wanted to include a few things. Hospitality Green is a huge resource for us, and we're hoping they've agreed to help us with the green operations piece of part 2 of the climate action plan, which will be helpful for businesses and not-for-profit organizations in the county. We've also met with Catskill Mountain Keeper to discuss a possibility for solar cooperatives, bulk buy of solar panels, and also the labor involved. So we might be able to get some homeowners to take advantage of that, to reduce the cost of solar installations on residences. This weekend, we're doing an impromptu event at the Homestead School, which has a large solar array that is just up and running. And Pete Comstock offered to host an event. I've got some little handouts about that for you. Just to let you know, there will be several solar installers there, including Todd Okeson, who did the installation at Homestead School, and across the road, there's a residential installation, so for a chance to kind of kick the tires and hear from the parties
Now I
involved.
got it from both
But they're
sides.
not like trying to solicit our business, are they?
No, not county business, this is just
No, I meant
information,
this
yeah.
Oop,
vendor.
you want one of these
No.
or no?
Where is it?
It's
It is in
Glens
Glens
Bay.
Bay, New
Let's
York.
bet.
Okay. Thank you.
Would you like some information about, would you
No,
like
I
directions
just
how to
was
get there?
wondering where I was. Thank you.
It's off Hollow Road, AKA Lower Road.
Thank you.
What's the name of it?
Thank you, little Miss
Hollow
GPS.
Hollow Road.
Go to the town hall and turn right.
Yep. Coming from
Depends on which direction you're
Turn
coming
south,
from, right?
yeah, turn south.
That's
yeah.
true.
Just out of curiosity, did the town of Fallsburg ever get back to you?
No, no.
Okay.
And we're a little late in following up with everyone, but if you can put in a word for us.
I
that'd be
certainly
great.
will. They love to hear from you.
I'm sorry, Carol, did you
That's
talk
it.
about the Sunspot Initiative?
Do you wanna say something about Sunshot,
I don't know what that is.
Stephen, the DOE?
The Sunshine Initiative was, it's a initiative by the Department of Energy. They have $15 million available. It's not, in researching it, it's not something that Sullivan County, as an entity in and of itself would participate in, because they're looking at reducing the soft costs of solar. Some other people that I've spoken with are looking into developing a proposal, but it really isn't applicable.
Would it be for residential?
No,
homes or
well,
something?
it's designed to bring solar to a more affordable pricing for communities, but it's more in the realm of, it's gonna be applied to the utilities so that the, and municipalities, so the permitting costs are lowered, so that interconnect costs are lowered. So it's something that a company like Sustainable Energy Developments up in Ontario, New York, would be more likely to develop a program. And we've talked with them about collaborating with them if that came down to, some local initiatives to get a solar buy. So that would be the extent of,
Because is it, the solar install, the price of solar has come down, right, considerably?
price of solar, the hardware has come down, the labor typically stays the same or goes up. And cost of the equipment, however, is going to start going back up. Several people that we've spoken with have said that they've already seen an uptick in the prices, and it's largely due to the tariff that the United States is putting on panels from overseas companies.
Because we're not able to make enough. Is that still?
No, we're able to make enough, but the overseas market has ramped up its production a whole lot faster and farther than we have, and their governments are subsidizing some of the cost of that production, so it
Sounds
looks
like
like we're.
99%.
So make us pay for it.
Why not?
Right.
While we're exporting our liquid propane. Good idea.
Right.
We're not even doing that.
We were.
Well,
Okay, thank you.
It's a whole other thing.
Any questions for Steve or Carol?
Regarding just solar or regarding things
In the universe?
All things in the universe.
Well, the question that I have when it comes to
Pretty much.
sustainable energy, I read an article recently in one of my, green type magazines, I forget if it was Sierra or which magazine it was. And they spoke about the windmills out in, the desert and how they are creating major problems for many animals, including the eagles. And I didn't know if you had seen the article, if you could comment on it regarding windmill. Some of the windmills, the blades of the windmills are longer than
We don't have windmills here.
the New York Statue of Liberty. Is that what we're looking at for in this area?
No, absolutely not. A lot, and I haven't read the article, but a lot of the stories of windmills or wind turbines impacting wildlife, especially migratory birds, date back to about 20 to 30 years ago, when there were not in place good siting requirements. Today, with all of the protections against or for endangered species, full environmental studies are done before siting a wind turbine to make certain that they're not in a migratory flight pattern. It's just taking one eagle to wipe out your profit for a while on one of those systems. So my hunch, without having read it, my hunch would be that it's probably a dated article.
This month, and it has to do with the new, the pros and cons of green energy and coming
You're
out
probably
of
talking
Sierra.
about-
I'd be happy to look at it if you could email it to me or.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think it would be a problem with what we would have here in Sullivan County, because aren't they
No.
talking about those mega windmills that they have in Germany, to run the whole village?
We're talking about a windmill farm in the middle of the
Yeah.
desert of the United States.
Right, so they have multiple.
Yeah, I'd have to, you'd have to look at when was that wind farm permitted, when was it built? If it was built and permitted and built before, the stringent oversight and regulations, it could be a problem. But the newer ones, the investors are not going to risk the fines and the penalties and the shutdown of their investment by building something that isn't properly sited.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Melinda couldn't be here, so Jill stepped in and said that she would give the ag report.
Yes, and she does have some handouts here, so. Go this way. So she had her report in the agenda, so if you have any questions on that, but we really wanted to just kind of stress that we did go on a tour up to Cornell to see the dairy processing facility they have up there, and it was a great tour. It's a great resource.
Yep.
Cornell has a lot of great resources up there to take advantage of, and I believe the county should be doing more of it, so I think that was great. There's 3 different handouts.
That's what I think.
Oh, there's 3.
Yeah. These handouts all pertain to the update of the farmland protection plan that's going on, that we have the consultant. We've done a lot of community outreach, we've done some farmer focus groups, we've done some economic agency groups and focus groups. So these are just some preliminary results that we wanted to share with you to see if you had any comment or feedback.
And if you wouldn't mind, when we get to discussion, maybe you can expound on it a little bit?
Sure. And so then the next step is to just continue moving forward with the plan. Melinda couldn't make it today because she is doing the site visits for the Ag District 30-day window. So those will be on the agenda for next month of what parcels to be added to the Ag District. So
How many are there?
how many site visits? Well, they only had 4, and then I guess they got maybe 5 more applications just yesterday, so, so we'll see.
I know there's 2 in the town of Fallsburg, I don't know about the rest.
Right, and whether they're, viable ag ventures or whether they're viable ag district properties, that'll be up to the Farmland Protection Board that's, looking at them right now, so.
If you look at the list on the strategies from the notes and interviews, how are you going to prioritize what's a very, any one of these things is?
Cora, can you hold off?
Oh,
on
I'm
that
sorry.
Just till we get to the discussion piece, because.
I apologize.
Yeah, I'm sorry, we're gonna get back to that.
Right.
I got distracted.
And so on Melinda's report, she's got, county-specific projects on the front and the Cornell, projects on the back. And she really wanted to just, stress again that the dairy processing tour was great, and we're hopeful that, a project will come out of that, and we can get some more, dairy processing opportunities in the county. Also last month, during Ag Literacy Week, she said they had about over 1,000 kids at the Cook School that, they were able to go over a book called Grew My Soup, which I guess kind of just talked about some, ag opportunities and let kids know, and raise agricultural awareness, so that was a great opportunity that Cornell was able to participate. And then also just on a side that I wanted to add is that Melinda and I and Michelle from Cornell have been meeting with some farmers about some potential revolving loans, so hopefully we'll have, some more projects for the county ag revolving loan fund coming up, so. That's it, otherwise there's some upcoming events and classes that Melinda has on there too. Anybody has questions?
Okay, thank you, Jill. We'll discuss the farmland protection survey a little bit further down. I don't see Ed here today, so, we'll forgo the DPW update. I wanted to, just kind of jump down to discussions for a minute, and, cause I don't want Barb Moran to sit throughout the whole meeting if she's got something else to do, so,
If we're bored, she should be bored.
I just want, I just want to jump down to number 3, Youth to Ag Initiative. And I asked Barb to come here today because constituents have approached me, and we discussed it earlier in the day about youth resources and what's actually available for youth in the county. We all know of some of the bigger organizations that are working with youth, maybe some sports organizations, but to bring them all in one place so that people can access that information more easily. But in the discussions, several people had mentioned, why don't we tap into ag initiatives and agriculture in the county? So, in, kind of brainstorming, how can you connect youth to agriculture? Barb Moran's name came up. She does a teaching farm, an agricultural teaching farm, provides educational piece on their farm in Jeffersonville. So Barb said she would come today and kind of give a little idea of what she does. And I understand she has some testimonies from youth in our local high schools that have gone through her program. Also, she works with BOCES, so she brings youth in through the BOCES program. And she can tell you the impact that the experience on her farm has had on these youth, and I think it's pretty phenomenal. So I kind of wanted you to hear that. And moving forward, I would like to tap into some of I know that we have several farms that do youth programs on site at the farm, so I'd like to tap into that a little bit and, get the word out that there are resources like this available. So, Barb, do you want to come up to the table? Is it easier for you?
I'm a teacher.
Oh.
Study all the time.
Barbara Moran from
Everybody can see. So yes, I am here today. I'd like to talk to you about the impact of agriculture on my students from BOCES, but also to throw some ideas out of you of other things that we can do in the county. Being from Jeffersonville, it was quite a shock to me when I started teaching the 8 component school districts. Some of my heavy hitters of students are Monticello, Fallsburg, and Liberty. Students that have never seen a farm before, have no idea where their food comes from. Don't even know the opportunities of the careers that are available in the agricultural industry. And so those are some of the things that I go through. And if you bear with me, I have testimonials from some of the students I think you'd like to hear. But this is huge in our county right now because we offer so many different things, but it's such a big county. How to get them where they need to go is something that Cindy and I have spoken about. So typically with my kids, there are some key words that I start out asking them. I went back all the way to 1787 where agriculture came out in a letter from Thomas Jefferson to George Washington. It said agriculture is our wisest pursuit because it will in the end contribute most to real wealth, good morals, and happiness. So how many kids today know the words such as agriculture, sustainability, livestock, animal science, agronomy, horticulture, or where their food comes from? How about work ethic, responsibility, respect, and opportunities? These are the things that agriculture can teach our youth. So I'm here today to talk to you about the benefits of agriculture and the youth in Sullivan County. I've been an instructor at Sullivan County BOCES for 10 years, and I've graduated about 350 students through that program. Those students come from diverse backgrounds and have differentiated learning styles. I've seen firsthand the positive impacts that agricultural programs have made on the youth in this county. As one of my Eldred students who came out of what's called our ITAP program, it's basically the step before residential, and now she's working on the farm with other kids, quoted to me that being on the farm makes her feel relaxed, happy, helpful, and she has a strong tie to the responsibility she feels for the animals in her care. As she counts the hours each day to get to class, we see attendance goes up and students feel like they have a place where they belong. Working with other students that have similar interests helps to promote teamwork. Our county has so many things to offer, but yet we're tied by transportation issues and the size of the county. A junior student of mine from Monticello, who's been bullied for most of her school career, would relish the opportunity to join others in outreach programs on local farms. She said that learning about animal science, and this is her direct quote, is the highlight of her high school career so far, and when she is having a rough day, all those negative feelings go away when she starts her chores at the farm. So I would like to propose that we do an initiative to discover agriculture in the county. We can call it Down on the Farm, and we can bring youth in to learn different aspects of agriculture, life skills, and job skills. And I'll emphasize job skills. Youth are the future, and we need to empower them with becoming more informed about the importance of the aspects of agriculture in our society, because they don't know. The program will provide opportunities to youth to learn about life on a farm, where their food comes from, environmental and sustainable agricultural programs, which I'm hearing about here today. A senior at Liberty High School, raised by a single mom living in the town of Liberty, who would not have had an opportunity to learn about life on a farm until the BOCES Animal Science program came along, quoted that the hands-on setting is her learning style, and watching the daily lives of animals in her care solidified her dream to be a veterinarian. This was not even an option 2 years ago, but the rigorous daily care of the animals proved to be her passion. A classmate of hers from Roscoe School found her niche of working with horses and learning job skills that she can take with her throughout her life. Her quote is, "I may follow a career in nursing, but will always have the skills to take on job opportunities in the equine field for additional income. Working with the horses gives me a sense of pride, and life can throw you a curve at any time. My dad died when I was 12, and he was my sole parent. Being moved from relative to relative, I wish I had a farm to go to for peace of mind when I was younger. I now know I can get my hands dirty and work on a farm no matter where I end up in the world." So this morning, as I'm getting this prepared, and I always include my students in everything I do because I want them to have real life experiences, a boy walked up to me and he said, "The Monticello students that I hang out with told me that they're not going to drop out of school because they're going to try to come to BOCES and come to the animal science program." He said, "I want you to use me as an example. My student Ray told me that he chose to attend the animal science program in lieu of getting just his GED and will complete high school and graduate from BOCES. And this is why we need to spread the word about agriculture." So, in moving forward, Cindy and I have spoke about the benefits of this. I would love to pilot a program. I am a certified New York State agricultural teacher. I'd love to pilot a program where we bring kids from Monticello or Liberty or Fallsburg out to a working farm. Can I just finish and then I'll take your question? Out to a working farm, even if we only catch 10. And let's see if we can make a difference. If they can set goals, if they can feel good about themselves, raising their self-esteem, take on some of the responsibility. What I'd like to do, my proposal, would be a half-day program where we target youth that can benefit from a Down on the Farm program. Daily curriculum will not only cover agricultural skills, life skills, job skills, but self-esteem building and a sense of pride that's going to take them far beyond the farm. 1 out of every 12 jobs in the economy is connected in some way, shape, or form to a farm. Nora Shepard, who runs the Office of Independent Living, I work with that office through a therapeutic riding program, quoted me at the office that an agricultural program can offer a sense of connection to another individual or living creature, develop coping skills to deal with what is happening in their home environment, and propel youth towards being an agent for themselves to make a change in their lives. that it will help them create a vision and become self-sustainable in their own community and not repeating generational patterns so prevalent in this county. I always have to end with something that I feel is empowering. And I get this a lot when I walk into a room and they'll say, well, you're a farmer? You don't look like a farmer. I say to them all the time, well, what does a farmer look like? You know? So, and we've all heard that old saying, what, were you raised in a barn? Well, I brought to you today a poem about being raised in a barn because I want you to know what it really does for kids. So it says, you act like you were raised in a barn, like it's a bad thing. I was raised in a barn, and that's where I learned the most important lessons in life. I watched life begin and end in a barn. I discovered that hard work builds character and killed no one. I learned respect, love, and compassion. I realized sometimes optimism is the only way to keep going, and I found sometimes you have to let go even when it breaks your heart. I dreamed and learned to never give up on those dreams. I failed and kept trying until I succeeded. I gained confidence in myself and my abilities. I understand you have to stand for what you believe in. So the next time someone tells you that you act like you were raised in a barn, thank them, because it's the greatest compliment they can give you. So I would like to, if I could just have 1 minute, Cindy, because I know you're very busy today, open it up to any questions that you might have about the Sullivan County Animal Science Program, because I am finding that many board members and people in the community don't even know that we have this program, and I've been teaching it for 10 years. So I feel very passionate about my program as my students are graduating and going on to the SUNY schools in New York State for agriculture. And I would also like to open up any questions to an initiative to bring youth and ag together in the county.
Well, I wish there were more teaching farms like yours. And so Barb and I talked about this pilot program, starting off with a summer program with 10, 15 youth, and tapping into the business community and having like a tiered sponsorship program where, a business would sponsor a kid for that summer camp. Because just like Barb says, I see it with my own kids and neighbor kids that come on the farm. It's a whole different world for them. And so with the whole thing with, teens in crisis, we hear about the heroin and the drug addictions and, to connect youth, how can we do this? And through agriculture with a program like this, I think it's phenomenal. Barb's been doing it for 10 years, and I know her graduates have gone on to college and majored in agricultural programs. So it's really something that has changed their life. When Barb and I first spoke about it, 2 years ago we had a farm intern that came. He grew up in Long Island, was never on a farm. He went to a college upstate New York and took a greenhouse program and fell in love with agriculture and growing. And he's now a farmer, and he's moving agriculture. So I think it's awesome, and Barb and I are going to be working together to try and build on it and get the message out, and I'm more than willing to help.
One thing that I think that, sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to comment that my daughter is a teacher in the Monticello Middle School, and I know she was reaching out to the farm community because of one of the books that the kids in the middle school are reading, to bring the students to the farms. And I believe she spoke to you the other night.
Yeah, and Barb is willing to do that.
I'm definitely willing to do it, and what I do is I utilize my students to teach those students. So we just did a whole program last week with Roundout School, and they brought life skill students to my farm, and my students taught those life skill students how to work in the barn, how to groom a horse, and then we did some therapeutic riding, but it was very, very empowering to watch my juniors and seniors from the schools teach.
Because the other piece that was involved in that is they wanted to go back to the classroom / the kitchen and work with Andy at the Monticello School in, now this is how it grows, what it looks like, and maybe you can make something with it. So I think she's trying to get it to be a ongoing yearly event.
Well, definitely you can get my number from Cindy, and right now I'm not growing anything other than livestock, so, yes, sir.
I did give your daughter her name.
Okay.
Yeah, and I connected her with a couple of
I know you've been in this program for 10 years. How long has this program been in place at
10
BOCES?
years. Well, actually 11 years. My husband is the second year teacher. When both of us have degrees in dairy and animal science, and when we came, we were asked by the school to write curriculum. It went to New York State. New York State approved the curriculum. We are the only program in New York State that covers all large and small animals in their curriculum. And what happened was, to be honest with you, he got the teaching job first.
Yeah.
And Jack Jordan challenged me that if I could fill it with enough kids, that he would post a second position. And the next year we almost tripled the program, and it's been going ever since.
Well, that leads to the second part of my question. You're saying that a lot of schools don't know about this program. I don't understand that.
Well, you could ask Larry Thomas that question.
I
'cause
would love to
did-
ask Larry Thomas that question,
I did yesterday
but
in a meeting, and basically I told him, because, you know, they're always threatening our jobs, that I would like to be on every agenda of a board meeting in this county to let them know what goes on out of both.
Well,
Every school board meeting I wanna be at to tell them what I do.
well, I'll say this on the record. I have a big problem with Larry Thomas,
Okay, well.
and that's all I'm saying.
One thing I'd like to, just ask you, because I wanna be able to give this kind of support, you know, when I was studying the statistics, agricultural statistics for Sullivan County,
Mhm.
we're still dependent on agriculture. I believe it's 76 million, you know, revenue stream, and for every dollar spent in agriculture, it's a multiplier effect of times 3, which I don't think we get in every other sector. So it's, you know, agriculture is still the backbone in a lot of ways for various parts of the economy. And when we were up in Albany, there was very specific discussions about how the Farm Bill Kristen Gillibrand was very adamant, you know, that the Farm Bill help upstate farmers and New York upstate farmers. So it would be really good to be able to sort of have you connect. Susan Spear is Kristen Gillibrand's representative for our area.
Okay.
And she's always been incredibly helpful. We've been working on rural broadband for a couple of years now, and she makes sure that everything that we're doing gets, you know, visibility and ultimately funding. It's a long road, but I still think that, you know, we have to be able to tell your stories at the state and federal level, because the average age of the farmers in New York State is above the average age for the rest of the country. It's, I think, 57 for the average age all over the country. So there's a recognition that there's gonna be, you know, a need for a different kind of farmer, a young kind of farmer, and I think you're ahead of the curve.
Well,
really.
thank you. I do think that one thing that I just would like to put in, just as because some people walk away from here and they think, well, this kid's never gonna be a dairy farmer. He's not gonna raise sheep. He's not gonna just. But there's so much more to it, and I drive home the entrepreneurship factor to my students that yes, you may have a job during the day. You may have 2 jobs, I don't know. You may live in New York City and have a place up here, so because you want to come home. But you can always do something in agriculture. And we write business plans after business plans, and we research the difference between franchises and business plans and being an employee, and talk about farm stands and cooperatives. And I'm very, very passionate that they leave me with an idea that they are not going to collect a check and sit home on the couch and play video games. It just doesn't happen in my world, okay? So,
They're probably relieved.
they like it, but they're shocked the first time they come and they go, I don't really feel good today, and we go, the animals don't care if you don't feel good, let's go. And put your raincoat on and dress properly, and, you know, but I can honestly tell you, I was observed the other day, and those Monticello kids, I have a lot of Monticello kids in the morning, have never done these jobs. They are off that bus, they are on their chores, they are team working together, they are problem solving together, they are figuring out how to get it done, and I only have to manage at this point, and this is their first year, most of them. They're
So, in
juniors.
moving forward,
Yeah,
to
sorry.
get the word out to the schools, is that what you?
I mean, obviously, I teach 11th and 12th graders. We need to have initiatives earlier. We need to have earlier intervention before they're already out not doing what they're supposed to be doing. That's one thing. But I do think that the summer's very long. Maybe through some of the resources that you're pulling together through the youth programs in the county. I had an open house for animal science the other night, and I had a gentleman, a young guy from Monticello, 10th grader, who's gonna be attending my class next year, and he's very involved in the Boys and Girls Club. And I said to him, hey, next year when you come, you tell me, you set it up, and I'm gonna take the animals out, and we're gonna go talk to the kids about the animals and the care and the program, and where, you know, I don't know.
And so your pilot program for the summer, is that, on par? You're gonna move that forward?
I would like to.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think I feel like I need to have a little backing, but yes, yeah,
Mhm.
I would like to.
Backing in what way?
Well, just like we talked about the resources, finding the kids.
Mhm.
We need to find the kids. I mean,
So that would be getting the word out to the schools?
getting the word out to either the schools or the extracurricular programs. Then we'll have to talk to someone for transportation, and I'll hustle around to businesses, and I know like within my own business, I also own and operate a equestrian facility in Jeffersonville, so I know that already a lot of my clients are on board that they'll sponsor a kid.
What do you think a sponsorship would cost?
I'm gonna do it tiered. I'd be happy if you gave me $20 and you gave me $50 and you gave me $100. I'm just gonna do it tiered. All I wanna cover is the supplies, and I'll probably have to have 1 or 2 girls help me. So,
Barb's program is already up and running, it's already operating.
so this will be, you know, targeting the kids that, I mean, we even talked about targeting the foster care system. And we'll give them some.
Well, I wanna thank you for coming.
Thank you for
Thank you.
having me, and I'm
Thank
so
you.
glad that everybody got to learn about my program.
And, we'll be in touch.
Good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna move ahead with a, did you wanna do your presentation, cap summary goals?
We can do that. We can shorten it a bit, I think, if you're interested in doing that. Cindy had asked us to do a presentation about the goals and measures and some of the strategies in the climate action plan. So we had put together a PowerPoint, but it didn't make it to get.
Well, that's because I was
get
in,
loaded.
I was
know,
in meetings all
yeah.
day, I haven't
This
been at my
morning, so,
computer to get
uh,
it, and I didn't eat.
That's all right. Hopefully not
Oh,
on
you
the
should
fall.
have something to eat.
But we have a backup
I
plan.
had a ring ding.
Had a ring.
You should be flying.
No, it was a ring ding.
Okay, we just had a talk from a farmer.
Give that a ring ding.
Is there an extra one?
Right here.
Did that grow in Sullivan County?
What's that?
Probably
No,
not.
good, I don't want, I don't
Yes,
want.
for Annie.
That's for you.
So leaping
Thank you.
ahead through the, so what we just wanted to do was, your handout is the slides that are in the PowerPoint, so we'll just skip to, in the plan, there are goals for each of the 4 sectors, actually 6 sectors that we identified: energy, transportation, materials management, land and water use, and we added public health and emergency planning. So for energy, Steve's gonna talk a bit about the energy goals and some highlights in the
Yeah,
measures
so-
and strategies.
The energy goals is to reduce building energy use and greenhouse gas emissions through efficiency measures, and to shift to renewable generation of energy for county facilities. And we are looking, at all opportunities to do building energy retrofits and developing a long-term plan. And that long-term plan is in collaboration and in conjunction with the Division of Public Works, so that we're aligning the most pressing needs of the DPW to address
Right.
the buildings. So that's our first target, and that's what the New York Power Authority initiative has already started on. And the next large portion of that is to find funding to do a space study so that we can actually look and see what our buildings, how they're being used, and what's the best potential for use of those buildings. And then when we have that, define parameters for building energy retrofits on those buildings so that everything is done in a very comprehensive, holistic way, as opposed to saying, well, this building needs more storage space, so let's do that. So developing projects, getting them grant ready so that when the grant opportunities come along, we have a project already in hand that we can apply.
What is the proposed Sullivan County Public Safety Campus?
Well, that's an idea of, so
I have no comment on that one.
it's a redefinition of the jail.
Like I said, I have no comment on that one.
That'll be so much easier to fund.
This is Orwellian.
We don't have enough time for what I have to say.
It sounds so much nicer.
Well,
Well, beyond the jail.
well, it's.
I don't have enough quarters to say what I want to say.
No, it's not, it's beyond the jail, it's looking at,
Right down the road.
do we build a facility just to house inmates, or do we build a facility that can really combine the sheriff's road patrol, probation,
Right here.
and all of the ancillary, programs that the incarcerated
I knew I saw it.
population needs. And
Ask Josh, because we still don't know how much this is gonna hit the taxpayer.
well,
You're working on it, right?
we're working on it.
Speaking of
All that new
transportation, you
revenue.
just got thrown under the bus.
Literally, or we weren't giving abatement?
Okay, we're getting,
We're getting a little punchy.
Okay, let's
Electric hybrid bus?
concentrate.
Okay.
It's getting late.
I got things to
Okay,
do
and then,
tonight. I gotta be in
the other-
Bloomingburg.
The other portion of the
Well,
energy goals
Eagles
is
next.
to continue to look at how we can shift to
What time?
renewables.
5:30.
And
But I
we're
wanna go home and
exploring
get changed.
a concept of
shave.
power purchase agreement
shower.
to actually build, it's a
Like I said,
way
it'll look
that
pretty, but it ain't gonna happen.
municipalities can shift to renewable energy without having to actually build the system out of their own. They're just purchasing the electricity,
Right.
similar to what SUNY Sullivan is doing.
In the transportation sector, we have 3 goals and measures for each and strategies for those measures. The first is to reduce fuel use by 50% through right-sized energy efficient vehicles and the phase-in of hybrid and plug-in, and electric vehicles where appropriate for the needs that are filled by that particular vehicle. So that involves analyzing fuel consumption hours, quite a lot of analysis of what we have now and how much fuel we're using, and applying that life cycle cost analysis to those figures, and perhaps phasing in or piloting the use of hybrids or all-electric vehicles for county health staff or other departments. The second goal, the measure 2 there is about the EV charging stations to support those electric vehicles. Goal 2, fuel conserving driving habits for county staff, carpooling, perhaps using a request to attend protocol so that if county employees are traveling, they can travel together and save fuel and wear and tear on vehicles that way. One of the most interesting pieces of the transportation part of the plan is that we are also participating in the meetings of the Comprehensive Coordinated Transportation Plan. In the RFP for that project, there was some language included that we wanted the contractor who's going to come up with the plan to include an inventory of transportation providers and to identify opportunities to document the fuel efficiency of the vehicles of those providers and address the feasibility of making it a contract requirement or having a preferred provider program or status so that to encourage those providers to use fuel efficient vehicles and
can
to
I make a comment?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Because,
Make it quick.
okay, I get a lot of complaints, is probably the best way of putting it, of the accumulation of equipment and vehicles that we get through grants, and then they're just stored at the Emergency Operations Center, and then they're not used, or, you know, it's just this, like, I don't know how to describe it other than not the most efficient use of public funding. So is there some kind of asset listing or inventory, or are you working with the asset management policy, or?
To do that inventory of vehicles, that would be a part of the fuel efficiency and fuel efficient vehicles part in goal one. Under transportation, this is all county operations.
Yeah, I know,
So,
that's what I'm talking
yeah,
about.
so yeah, that would be part of that. I mean, you know, if you're
Saved me a lot of
big
money.
heavy equipment, you're not gonna have hybrid or electric
even cough
vehicles for
today
that,
either.
but,
I know, it's scary.
Well, those
isn't it?
aren't the ones I'm
but
talking about.
duplication of vehicles as part, we could
You
certainly,
haven't coughed at all.
is
I
Ed
know.
here? No.
I'm worried.
I think we could, we could
Think I'm
add
getting
that to
healthy.
the inventory.
That would be
and
really
the
helpful
analysis
because,
of,
you know,
mhm.
it takes, you know, people's time to write the grants and get the
Mhm.
grants, and then the
Mhm.
vehicles are just warehoused.
Mm-hmm.
But aren't those, a lot of those vehicles really highly identified special use vehicles? I know there's a trailer or a van that we've used, for a command center when we've done wildland search and rescues,
When was
for
the last
people.
time that was used? It could have been used during Storm Sandy, but it was never used. So, you know, those are the kinds of
Mhm.
things that people ask questions, but we don't have
Mhm.
the, you know, to me it fits this
Right,
part
this
of it.
category. Mhm.
Well, that's why they're very specific uses. You know, for Superstorm Sandy, the command center was set up at the Emergency Services Training Center and worked well.
Mhm.
You know, you wouldn't take some of the vehicles that Emergency Services has warehoused in that garage out on a, you know, anything except what it's specifically intended for use for.
But what I'm saying is that the questions are asked. This
Mhm.
is a methodology for finding the
Inventory.
answer.
Mhm.
So you're asking for an inventory
Yeah.
of those vehicles?
Well, we have some sort of
Yeah, we are.
asset management, but what we don't have is their
The
efficiency.
analysis, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They're not going to be very efficient.
Yeah. But you want the
They're all
information,
talking
yeah.
about
Mhm. To just finish.
In the interest of time, maybe just do one more point.
Okay.
And then what we'll do is, at the next meeting, we'll finish up with the other three. But I just did have a really quick question. Is there opportunity in this for the consolidated funding application? Is there,
We're gonna be investigating, and that's part of the work of the working group, is to investigate funding
Mhm.
opportunities. In the full plan, you see at the back of the plan, there are tables with all of these goals and measures listed.
Okay.
And we've filled in where we
So
think
you're
there are some
working on
funding
identifying-
opportunities for some of them, and we'll be researching as we
Okay.
go, according to the priorities. What we might wanna do is just stop here, and we'll come back next month with the
Oh, the
PowerPoint and.
okay, that sounds fair.
And you're on the transportation subcommittee,
Yeah.
right?
We're on the steering committee, so, yeah.
I'm gonna give this to Michelle to put in next month's agenda packet.
Okay.
Okay, good idea. Okay, thank you, Carol and Steve. We'll follow up next month with the presentation. We'll have an update on the farmland protection survey briefly, and the priorities from Ag Advisory Board. I will cover them, but not today, so, we'll wrap it up with Jill's survey.
So there were three surveys that were done so far for the farmland protection plan. One was a public input survey that was sent out to the public. One was a municipal survey for municipal officials that the towns were asked to complete. And the last was a survey that was sent to all the farmers in the county. So the public survey, we were able to get 262 responses, which is a fairly good number. The consultants were happy with that. That's more than Orange County got. So that was great. We got a lot of great feedback showing that, of course, agriculture is important to our public. And we got some other responses and feedback about how local is more important than organic in a lot of people's eyes. And so the more we can just market our local products, the better. The municipal officials, we didn't get such great responses, so if any of you would, reach out to your constituent municipalities and have the supervisors fill out those surveys and get some feedback that.
They got them already? They
It was
just
sent
didn't
out
send
to
them back?
all the supervisors and I
Okay.
believe,
But they could have
planning board
sent it in
chairs.
anonymously, right?
Well, it was an online survey, so they would have filled it in
Okay.
online. I mean, it's not really anonymous, cause we ask you what town you're from.
Well, they're-
So,
Right,
Oh, it's a trick
But
question.
I know there's a number of them that came in that they were mailed, right? So
Right.
they just sent them in without.
No, those were the farmers, and so the
Okay,
farmers, we were
got it.
able, to enter those in. But for the surveys, we had 5 town supervisors and one planning board chair,
Okay.
Are you at
respond.
liberty to tell us which towns, so I don't ask too many questions when I go to Monday's meeting?
We got 3 responses from Mamakating, 1 from Coshecton, 1 from Bethel, and 1 from Callicoon.
Okay.
So,
I'll just add that one to my agenda for Fallsburg.
so that's, we're trying to get as much input from the towns to see how farm friendly they are. We have an opportunity to audit 4 of the towns' zoning plans to see, how farm friendly they are and to offer input. So we're trying to see which towns would be amenable to that. And then as far as the farmer survey, 323 were mailed out, and we received 69 responses. So that was about a 21% response rate. So again, that's a pretty good response, but if anybody knows of any farmers who didn't send them in, we would gladly take their responses. Because we did get out of that, while we got some great information, we were able to even get people to give us their names. And so that way we can follow up with them and, work with them, as far as, keeping them involved in the process. And we're gonna be able to break down that survey on, as far as were they dairy, were they crops, how they were, so we can kind of target and analyze the survey results based on that and see how we can meet the needs of the different farmers. So the next step is to take all this data from the farmers focus groups, from the surveys, and then now start hashing out and identifying the goals and the objectives. to
Because the one
develop
that
a
you have
plan.
strategies identified, that's a summary of the survey information for initiatives, possible initiatives that could be, worked on?
Right, that's a list of all of them from all the different, sources to date. I mean, they're still
Okay.
compiling them, but that is
Mhm.
a quick list from the consultant of
Okay.
strategies that have been identified. They had some, dot voting at the farmer focus
Mhm.
group where they had people kind of show their priority, and so I think that's one of the sheets that I handed out where they list, kind of what are their concerns and what do they want us to focus on. And so that's where we're gonna kind of start now, taking all that data and putting it into a plan.
And so just, it's the hospitality and tourism and the farmer focus group. And what were the other, was there another subcommittee as well?
Well, they had the Ag Advisory Board.
Right.
but-
Aside of that, the farmer focus, that was the one at Cornell.
Yep, then they did the hospitality and tourism focus
Mhm.
group, and then, that one was broken into 2. The morning was more for the, restaurant tours and people
Okay.
that, and then the second part was for more of the agencies. The morning was farmer and the more
Okay.
retail side.
That's this participant list, that was the mix of it? That looks like farmers and.
Yep, and then the afternoon one was more of,
Okay.
different organizations.
Bless you.
Okay, good work. It's, also, prioritizing for the CFA for funding.
That's a good question, because I was under the impression from John Brennan at Ag and Markets that there would be that there would be
Mhm.
money through the CFA and Ag and
Mhm.
Markets, but, my preliminary look at it is, I don't see it listed under those resources, so I'm gonna have to go back, so it was weird that he mentioned it, and so we'll just have to double check to see if there are
Okay.
agricultural opportunities in the CFA.
Okay,
Have
thank you.
anything identified through that farm bill yet? Has anybody cracked it open yet?
The farm bill, my understanding is that it's more for, some of the insurance and more of the,
Environmental
other
insurance.
issues related to the farming. It's
Right.
not really grant funding through the farm bill, but I could
They
be.
give block grants to the state then? Is that how it's gonna work?
I think it's gonna go directly to the farmers on behalf of like helping to buy down their insurance rates or to help offset some.
But that's
mill
just one part of
costs.
it. I mean, it's a company,
Right.
it's,
Right.
we didn't get everything that we wanted.
Right.
But it's better than, nothing.
Yeah.
So if they're given, the things that we have in the pipeline, if there's a way to kind of move it forward with applying.
And actually, just to give you another update, is we have our REAP board set for, I believe it's Tuesday, May 13th, does that sound right? At 8 in the morning, is that a Tuesday? And Congressman Gibson's gonna come and talk to the REAP board about the farm bill and how, REAP has been re-upped until 2018, and what the board should be focusing on and what are the opportunities that exist there, not only for agriculture, but for, the whole, REAP zone, and what we should be kind of focusing on, so that would be an opportunity to
Where
learn
is that
more
meeting?
about. That is in, this room, from
So
8
what
to
we need
9,
to
and
do
we have
is-
to vacate, cause there's another meeting at.
Well,
We
at
need to
9:30,
get
he's
our
meeting with the
priority
kids.
list and match it up with the Farm Bill priority list and see where they match up. We haven't done that, right? Is that something that we should do before
From
that
my
meeting?
look at the Farm Bill, I think, this conversation with Gibson will be more informative because, from the farming community as a whole, it addressed more, not really like the regulations on the farm and some things that would remove barriers to agriculture and things. Am I correct? It was more like for things on the outside, not really nuts and bolts of what the farmers need, so
And in
that was
talking
kind
with
of.
Well, then
George.
that's the feedback that has to
Right,
be given.
and in talking to George Pop from USDA, a lot of it still hasn't come out. It's,
Oh, okay.
it's all been, the federal government has said, here's what's in the bill, but
The money hasn't been.
the money and the programmatic and what's required to do it, because my understanding is there'll be more water and sewer money in there as well for local municipalities. But again, none of it's been worked out to our knowledge, so. That's all.
Okay, if there's no further questions,
Public comment.
Ken, public comment?
Yeah, I was really happy to hear what's going on at BOCES. Another well-kept secret, just like the well-kept secrets about the community college on legacy programming that nobody knows about. And
So how do
that-
we improve that piece?
But,
That's what I was asking.
But, when that conversation went on, and there's somebody used to be a teacher of yours, he came up here as a foster child, basically. His father found him a farm to stay at, and presently he's staying with me and my wife because he's back from Argentina. And we've gotten to discussion, and actually those years that he was on the farm made him the man he is today. There's a lot to be said about agriculture and growing up on a farm that is really missing in our society today. Which brings me to the next point, and I brought this up at I think an IDA meeting, someplace along the way. We need to start looking at agriculture as a way of life, not as an income. Because many people enjoy it, and what I mean by a way of life is somebody likes the hobby and somebody likes to work off the farm. And it's a great way to live as a lifestyle and have good food for yourself. It's also a great way to bring up your kids. And I think if we started marketing that and trying to push that as a county, as agriculture being a lifestyle, we could have a lot more growth in that area. Thank you.
Well, I'm hoping the Youth to Ag initiative, and if I push that forward and put some energy behind that, pull in some people to help move that to the next step. If we have summer camp and we can expand some of the programs, maybe other farmers will enter into similar, have interns on the farm. I mean, my intern came from Long Island originally. Why can't we have interns from in the county, from our schools, high school kids? So, okay. Any other public comment? Okay, motion to adjourn?
Alan, Kitty.
Thank you.